You find kids that just stare. Like like our kids just look a little different, and so they stare and they're kind of trying to figure out like how old are you?
You're operating like a
where
10-year-old, but you look like a 2-year-old.
Is that an instance where you would want the parent to step in and say something, or like?
See, and we've talked about this, and it's very like, it depends. Like, it really depends on like the situation. I think that when it comes to the kids, I would probably be a lot more defensive. But like, we've had scenarios where kids look at Zach or my in-laws, and they're kind of like, why is your head so big, or why are you so short? You know, because kids are just like blunt. They don't have any filter. They just ask those questions, and I and Zach, I think, have no problem stepping in and just saying, like, you know, giving an explanation. Yeah. Or if parents are like gracious about it and ask questions, then like I think we're an open book for sure. But it's those like instances that parents, because I think a lot of times in society they tend to shun their kids from asking questions that are uncomfortable. And a lot, like, sometimes parents will get mad at their kids for asking those questions, and that's where it gets awkward and kind of like, you don't want that. We don't want that. Like, we're like, just be normal and just like ask a question. If we choose to answer it, great. If we choose not to, go Google it.
That's good to know. That's good to know.
Just shush your kid. Like Jackson, again, we're at LPA. Jackson's staring, you know, because he's like, is this guy like dad's age, or is he like, you know,
we were at a restaurant and our waiter had dwarfism, and Jackson's just like follow, and we're like, dude, like, stop. Stop. Like, you wouldn't want to be stared at like that. Don't do it to somebody else.
But then we educate him. That person has dwarfism like dad. So a lot of parents, I feel like, in those situations when we're out in public, shush their kids, but they don't then follow up. So I get it. In the moment, it is tough. You're like, totally, that's super embarrassing. Just shush. You know, like, stop, let's go to a different aisle. But then rarely do parents, I feel, follow then up. Like, yes, that person
and
has
that's
dwarfism,
where, like,
or that person looks a little different. But hey, it's not polite to stare. If you have questions, you can ask mom and dad later, or something like that. I feel a lot of parents just don't do that, and then they stop. Then they go keep shopping. You know what I'm saying?
And that's where parenting, like, the difference in parenting really comes into play, where, you know, I think a lot of things that we do, we think are common sense, but then they're not to other parents. You know, there's some parents that wouldn't think to go and educate their kid after, or
because they are just worried about like how that made them feel. But you gotta, the kid still has a question. Like, he still wants to know why that guy's head's so big, or why he's so short, because I've never seen something before in my entire life. Okay, like, and I've been living on this earth for 7 years.
I've seen a lot for 7 years.
So do you like
madness?
Do you like those kid interactions, or does it get uncomfortable?
It kind of back to what I kind of said, like childhood trauma or like teenager insecurities. I hated it. And so then, like, I've had to develop, but it never went away, even though I'm an adult. So my teenage, like I was saying, like, my teenage insecurities of going into a grocery store, and if there's kids in the aisle, avoiding that aisle, because I don't want that interaction, you know what I'm saying? And I never grew out of it. So I could go to the grocery store right now, or the toy section in Target, and kind of relive those experiences. So I've had to, like, change that mindset, you know, which is always kind of hard. Now that my kids who have dwarfism has helped me a lot, like, I'm not going to avoid taking them to the playground because there's kids there. You know what I'm saying? I know what the kids are going to say to me, but my kids want to go play. So that's helped me kind of like get over myself. You know, that's who I am, and that's what's going to happen. It's not like malicious or anything, but it's like, sometimes it can be super awkward. Again, you walk in, you just want to be at the park on the bench, your kids are playing, and you show up, and it's like freaking nuclear bomb just went off in these kids' minds, and they're like, who just walked into the park? You know, it's like, you just want to play there with your kid. You know what I'm saying? A little bit. Like, I'm just here. It's a Wednesday morning. Like, why are you guys here? Shouldn't you be in school? Okay, like.